Hi everyone, I'm Nick. Today I'll be doing the Sen Project analysis. Wow, it's been a few weeks of intense new launches. Right now we have the Sen. This is probably the last launch of 2025. So in this video, I'm going to go through with you whether this is a project that you should really consider or it's a project that, wow, I have quite a few concerns and whether or not you should consider about it lah. So if you like some of the details, please click the subscribe button. It will really help me to grow. Okay, these are some perspectives of the development. Fairly decent looking. I mean, all the new launches look about the same. But one of the key things about this one around the area is that this is a mid-rise development. It's about 10 stories high. The nearby newest development is Verdale. Later I'll be going through more about it. That one is only 5-story high. So this is something a bit different. If you're looking in this area, then suddenly you can buy slightly higher floor lah. So this is the location map. Just now I mentioned about Verdale. Verdale is around here. This is the latest launch, or rather latest condo that was completed around 2024. So this will be a good comparison that we can have when comparing the different unit types and the pricing. One thing good about the Sen is if you're someone who likes nature, then there is a lot of greenery park facing over here lah. And I think that might be the premium facing units, or if not, it will be the pool facing units. There is also an empty land plot over here. So if you are looking at units facing this direction, then be mindful that when you collect keys, by that time, there may be a future development building already. But at this juncture, there is no GLS yet. The Sen is also located in District 21. This is in the Upper Bukit Timah area, but it's all the way at the end. We are at the fringe of it. You go one step beyond towards this direction, it will be District 23 already lah. So District 21 is considered RCR, rest of Central Region, but then again, this is really at the end. I would say maybe closer to outside Central Region actually in reality. It's not very near to the MRT. Beauty World MRT is over here, so be mindful about that. I do think that because it's a bit further from MRT, the bigger unit types might be easier for people to accept. The smaller unit types in resale market might be a bit harder to resell. That's something for you to take note. These are some of the project information for the Sen. We have 5 blocks, 10 stories high. We have childcare center. So if you are looking for own stay, I do think that it's quite good because it's quite fully equipped. Then 347 units only, so it's actually very, very good size lah. 10 stories high, basement car park, expected TOP 2029. The developer is called Sustain Land. I did some research about it. It's not the biggest developer out here, not your Capital Land, CDL, things like that. A bit smaller scale, and they are very used to building developments that are about 300 odd units thereabout. They have done like Sky Everton, One Mayor, Sturdy Residence. This is very profitable in Farrer Park area, Casa Elmer. So one concern I have is that actually a lot of these are smaller developments, and I look at the pricing profitability is not super profitable compared to the other developments. So this is one thing that I'm a bit concerned about. So later I'll share with you expected pricing, the starting from prices because developer has already announced, and what are my concerns about that. The unit mix. So we have the 1-bedroom all the way to the 4 bedrooms. The maintenance fees are as such. Maintenance fees might be a bit higher than your bigger developments because this is a smaller development. I've also done right here, these are the percentage of the unit mix of the entire development. 1 bedroom, there's only 1 stack, so 10 units, that's good. 2-bedroom is quite a bit. It's one of the biggest unit distribution, which is 48% of it. That is something of a bit of a concern lah. 1 and 2 bedroom together, we have about 51%. So that is a bit more than 50%. I wish that the 3 and 4 bedroom would have a higher percentage. I do think that for this area, having a higher percentage in the 3-4 bedroom actually might be better in the resale profitability. Then this is the distribution chart. There's 10 stories high. One thing I want to highlight is that level 1 and level 10, you have a higher ceiling height, about 3.9 meters. The rest of the units will be about 2.85 meters, level 2 to level 9. One thing after harmonization is that developers can no longer sell you the void space, the higher ceiling height. So what we can see is that when you are queuing at the snake queue before you book the unit, be mindful to check whether level 1 and the normal floors of the normal ceiling height floors, are there any price discrepancies? If there's no major price discrepancies, then actually level 1, level 10 presents a very, very good opportunity for you to get higher ceiling for free. But of course, if level 1 and level 10, they have extra like maybe 80 to 100K kind of premium on top of a per floor jump premium, then I would say please avoid them. But this is a very common trait in this area and also for condos during the last era of new launches where there's a lot of high ceiling for top floor and also level 1 units. So I do think that in resale is quite nice because level 1 challenge is that you are ground floor, you are blocked by greenery landscaping, and the whole unit can be a bit dark. High ceiling will allow more light entering your unit while ensuring still decent privacy because the higher ceiling, people cannot really see in unless you're higher floor neighbors. So that allows the ground floor units to be a bit brighter. And if you can get that at a very, very slight premium or about same price as a level 2 unit, then I do think the ground floor makes more sense. That's my perspective. This is the site plan. Majority north-south facing, so north is over here. The park area will be over here. I do think that that would be the premium, especially the high floors. That would be the premium units because of the park. It's quite rare to get the park facing in this location. However, the lower floor units of these facing, you get the major road of the Old Jurong Road. There's about 2 lanes on this side and 2 lanes on this side, 4-lane road in total. It's a main road, so there will be some form of road noise, just to be clear. This is an empty land plot over here. So units facing this direction, in future, you are likely going to face construction noise. That's something to be mindful. So of course, the pool facing might be the safest if you are looking at this. But if you can, and if the premium is not very high for the high floor park facing unit, then I do think that that is my first choice. Oh, one thing I wanted to add on is that for this site plan itself, I think the developer is very smart. They stretch out the corridor area over here to allow more corner units to be within the block. So you see that, for example, first thing, 224 and 226. These blocks are point blocks, so enough said, 4 units per level. Every unit is a corner unit. But for example, block 222, this block, they extended the corridor to allow stack 3 and 4, 5 and 6 to be corner units as well. Because if the corridor were to be shorter, let's say there's no stack 9, for example, then 3, 4, 5, 6, only stack 3 and stack 6 would have been corner units. But in this case, because there's a longer corridor where there's a distance between stack 4 and stack 5, there's a gap, then they can build windows for stack 4 and stack 5, and suddenly they are considered corner units as well. You get the window feature in those units, which I think that's very smart because we always complain the smaller units don't get the windows. But in this case, you do get, and I think if you're someone looking for smaller units, then that's actually quite exciting. And the other blocks, like for example, 230, 32, 31, 30, 29, these are all corner units. And in fact, only a few stacks that are not corner is your stack 1, 9, and 8, your stack 34, 35, 27, stack 26, 18, and stack 19. These are not corner units. All of the other stacks, they are corner units. So I think definitely it's a good thing. Why? Because we are located in an owner-occupied estate. Corner units, I do think is very important because this gives natural ventilation. So let's compare the new versus resale because I'm all about the numbers, right? Let's look back into the location map. I'm going to compare with Verdale a lot. Maybe I just share with you what are the surroundings. Park Natura, this is a freehold development, very big floor plate, about 1,000, 2,000 plus square feet freehold development. They're much older. So not a very fair comparison, but large floor plate. And it's been there for quite some time. We have the Hillford, which is very popular being the shorter lease development. So this was 60 years lease and there's a lot of 1-bedroom over here. Perfect for rental yield. Many years ago, when they first launched, they started as low as $300,000+ for a 1-bedroom, and then the rental is still market rental, which is about $3,000 thereabout for 1-bedroom. So the rental yield is really impressive. Of course, the profitability may not be that great, but after many years, right now the 1-bedroom is going for about $600,000 really. So not too bad. Just that be mindful if you are looking to buy very small units like a 1-bedroom, this is your potential competition as well. But I'll be going through more in depth about the Verdale because Verdale is the newest, 99s as well, closest to us, just completed in 2024. So this is the Verdale information, TOP 2023. And then plot ratio 1.4, which means that it's only 5 stories high. Yeah, so the key difference will be the Sen is 10 stories high. If you can buy something of a higher floor, I think that is one thing that you already have an advantage over Verdale because Verdale is only 5 stories. Verdale profitability, especially for the smaller unit type, I don't think is that impressive. So maybe the demand for the smaller bedroom types is not that great over here, which makes sense because why? Smaller bedroom types, they usually go for more popular locations and nearer to MRT because these people don't tend to drive. For Verdale, it's also a bit out of the way, not so near MRT. Therefore, the demand for your 1 and 2 bedroom may not be that great as compared to, let's say, your 3 bedroom. This one you have 5.17%. Oh, this 2 bedroom is very, very good, 6.13% in terms of annualized returns also. So 2 bed maybe hit and miss, but the 3 bed is stronger in terms of the annualized returns. So I'm going to spend a bit more time for the pricing that the Sen gave us. So these are the starting from prices. 1 bedroom, less than $1 million. PSF, about $2,200. 2 bedroom, starting from just less than $1.5 million. And the PSF is going for about $2,200 PSF as well. 3 bedroom, slightly below $1.94 million. PSF 2002. Prestige is a bit higher because the Prestige units, they are giving marble, if I'm not wrong, better fittings in the units. And the Prestige units are the 3+ study and the 4+ study units only. And these are the prices. So how do we make sense of the prices? Pun not intended. This is the land tender for the Sen. So SL Capital, which is the developer of this development, they bought in at 9,000 per square meters. So all the land bids, they're all done in per square meters because usually government stuff, they only use per square meters. Why are we using per square feet? Because developers realize that if they use per square meters, the numbers will be very big. So many years ago, they already started using the term per square feet to keep the numbers sound smaller. So one key thing will be the land bid is 841. Actually, the land bid is quite cheap. One concern I do have is that A is also a bit higher, quite a bit higher in fact, 22% higher than the second bid. So potentially the developer might have overpaid for this development, in my opinion. Of course, this tender was done in mid of 2024 when the market wasn't very vibrant at that stage. It was a bit gloomy. That's why not many developers were coming in for this land plot. And because this land plot is not very near MRT, it will not be super popular. There's only 2 bidders. And also during that market condition, developers are a bit more wary, a bit more conservative. They don't dare to bid very high. That's why we are seeing at 840 per square feet PPR. And this is, I would say, very cheap because why Springleaf, as I see over here, they bidded for 904 per square feet PPR. Of course, this is beside an MRT station, but it's considered outside central region. It's 7.5% higher than the Sen in terms of the land bid price. But I wanted to compare with this because why Springleaf Residence is the most recent launch in terms of the price point, land bid prices they have done. We are very similar. The Sen 840, Springleaf 900 per square feet. But my concern is this, is that Springleaf launched average PSF $2,175 per square feet. This is reported by the Business Times. Now, the Sen starting from prices about $2,200. I predict maybe the highest price that they will sell is about $2,550. That's about 16% kind of gap. Average PSF would have been $2,375 per square feet. But if the Sen was purchased cheaper, aren't they selling much higher than Springleaf? Yeah, so this is my greatest concern. I mean, Springleaf have sold very well, 92% sold. Key reason maybe because they were sold very attractive price, beside MRT, things like that. But the Sen, granted, small development, 300 plus units, maybe they don't need so many people to come in. But wow, the pricing is a bit high. I think very high actually. So this is my primary concern. I think the Sen starting from prices is very, very high. Another strategy they could employ, which Zion Grand did, is that they don't quote too low a starting from price. Then the gap is actually smaller. So maybe right now I'm predicting 16% gap between the cheapest and the highest price PSF, but it might be smaller, maybe 10%. But my concern is this, the starting from price of $2,200 per square foot is already higher than the average done of Springleaf, 2175. So no matter how small that gap is, Springleaf does seem like a better deal if you're just looking at a numbers point of view. So if you're looking at the Sen, this is my concern to you. I don't know. I leave it to you to make sense of this. Then let's go through the layout one by one. We go through the one bedroom. So one bedroom, one good thing is because this is a true corner unit. First thing is you get your windows in the kitchen, windows in the master bathroom, and the dining, they can put a 4-seater. Some of the newer developments can only put a 2-seater. So I think this is pretty good. Master can access from the living area, and also for the master is a Jack and Jill. This is perfect. I like that the kitchen, the entrance to the kitchen area, there is no wastage of space, immediately open, that's it. So this 452 square feet actually is very usable. I quite like it actually. But my concern is, of course, if you're buying these to rent out, there will be some competition from Verdale and also Hillford, which I mentioned earlier, which is the 60 years older condo. That's a lot of supply of the one bedroom over there. So I took Verdale's one bedroom median rental is about $3,200. I assume starting from prices of $993,000, rental yield works out to be about 3.86%, which is decent, which is not bad. But just be mindful that as you go higher, because anyway 10 units only, maybe you're going about 1.0 something, 1.1 something. Actually, the rental yield is still quite good. But I wanted to find out more. I wanted to find out in terms of competition, how competitive would it be if you want to sell 4 years later. So for Verdale, in terms of one bedroom supply, they have quite a bit. They have about 23 units for one bedroom and a 1+ study. But there are 9 units for sale. 9 listings on Property Guru. That represents about 39% of the units for sale. Of course, a lot of assumptions. I'm assuming that this is individual units where there's no common units for sale. I mean, I just have to assume for that. But having 9 listings out of 23 units over here, I do think that the supply for sale in the market is quite high. Which means if I extrapolate to 4 years later, when you want to sell, likely you're going to face quite a bit of competition when you do want to sell your one bedroom. The good news is there's no listing up for rent, which may make sense in terms of, because it's a very new development, right? When they collect keys and people do want to rent it out, they will probably secure a tenant in 3 months or so, no matter, it's just a matter of how realistic they are in terms of the rental. And the rental renewal period may not be at this stage. That's why there may not be any listings for rent. But the good news is, if you are buying for rental, likely the competition for rental is not as bad as if you want to sell it. Selling it, competition might be there. So that's something that I want to highlight to you. Of course, if you are buying a one bedroom for own stay, I think it's perfect because there's windows, there's everything. 452 square feet, harmonized. Actually, it's a very, very good layout. Yeah, the layout is really quite good. And it's a corner unit, which is very, very rare in today's market. Okay, so 2 bedroom, there's no 2 bed, 1 bath, thank goodness. We only have 2 bed premium. And the very first layout I have over here actually is my favorite layout of the 2 bedrooms in the Sen. Why is that? Because first thing, you come in, there's no wastage of space. Love it. Immediately is a kitchen, and the kitchen looks really good. You have window over here, and the kitchen is a bit longer, which I like. It's not super cramped. So maybe if you want to put your laundry rack by the window over here, you may be able to do that. Yeah, there's something food for thought for you, especially if you are just one person or a couple. and you don't want to put your laundry rack in the balcony, there may be some space for you to do a bit of laundry at the kitchen area, maybe for your bed sheet or for your cloths things like that, because the sun, maybe some sunlight may be able to enter here . Yeah, because ultimately this is a majority north-south unit. The side might be east or west facing. So I do think you will get some sun coming in. That's a good thing. The dining is jutting out a bit, which means this part is actually a bit cramped, but I think it's fine. Other than that, everything is pretty good. Bathrooms comes with windows. That is great. And the master also have additional window over here. I love it, which means the whole house actually is quite bright. Yeah, it's a very, very solid 2-bedroom premium unit. One thing I read off from the fact sheet is that the bedroom 2 is 8 square meters, just to highlight this. The rest of the 2 bedrooms, bedroom 2 sizes are 9 square meters, is 1 square meter bigger. So the difference is the length over here, or the depth over here. That's why you see the side table is closer to the wardrobe. For this one, this side table is a bit further from the wardrobe. That's the only difference. But I do think the 9 square meters actually plays a part . But to me, I do prioritize having windows in the bathrooms, windows in the kitchens a bit more than the 8 to 9 square meters kind of difference. So this is definitely my first choice. 670 square feet, I will prioritize the ones facing the park, go for the highest floor, if the price difference is not super huge. If it's within 15-16%, I do think it makes more sense to go for the high floor units, because you do get the park facing, because the low floor, you will get the road noise . Then if not, these are facing the future land plot, then you may be facing construction noise next time. That's less ideal. So this will be my strategy for the 2-bed premium. B2, 670 square feet as well, but I don't think it's as efficient. First thing, you have a bit more space over here. Some people may say it's wastage of space . I don't like the kitchen. I think the kitchen will be darker because there's no window over here, and it's a kitchenette. So I don't really like this. Then both bathrooms that do not come with windows, I also don't like. So I will not prioritize these 678 square feet. One thing to highlight also, usually the layouts where there's windows in the kitchen and the bathrooms for the 2 bedrooms, right, they tend to be the 700 plus square feet series. They tend to be bigger, but it's very rare you get all these features in the smallest 2 bedroom. So I do think that it's a great benefit, because it means that likely you are able to purchase it cheaper. And if they don't load the premium too much for the park facing, and they just see as this is the outside facing unit, then technically the pool facing may have a higher premium. So in this case, you do get maybe the best of both worlds. You buy cheaper and you get a better layout. But of course, if developers feel that, oh, this is a better layout, so I'm going to load a bit more premium to that, then for these are pool facing units, but because the developer also recognize that there's no windows, therefore slightly more inferior, then maybe at the end of the day, same PSF for both. In this case, if the PSF is the same, because it's totally same size, I would still go for B1, where I get better layout, and I'll go for the park view. Because after all, I need to be very clear. I'm buying here, who are my target audience in the future? Likely people buying for own stay. Own stay people, they care about how livable the product is. And I do think that the windows will make it very livable. And in resale, buyers can tell very much, because if you cannot air your bathroom so well, in resale times, when they come and view, they can feel how humid it is, the damp in the bathrooms, maybe there might be some smell, or how dark it is, things like that. So in resale times, they can feel it, and the resale buyers will be discerning enough to see that. So if no PSF difference, definitely go for the B1. Only if they somehow load the premium in B1, then maybe B2 makes more sense. Then we have to see how much is the price difference. B3, 732 square feet. This is not bad. You have your kitchen with window, bathrooms with windows, things like that. But the space over here is a bit quite big. But the dining size is good. I like that. The dining size is good. By my opinion, from this 732 to 678 square feet, honestly, you are not getting too much back in return. Maybe you're getting a bit bigger in terms of the living area. You are getting 1 square meter bigger in the bedroom 2 size. Other than that, not too much of a difference. Or one thing is you are getting the pool facing. So if developers do load premium in the pool facing units, then your B3 can be very, very much more expensive than your B1. So I just did a brief calculation between the 732 square feet and the 678 square feet. If the price is about $2,300 per square foot, then the price difference would have been $124,000 already. And I do think that that's quite a substantial difference when you're not getting much in return. Therefore, I would still prioritize B1 in this case. Then let's find out the rental yield if you're buying a 2-bedroom for investment to rent out. The median rental from Verdale is about $4,000, assuming starting price slightly below $1.5 million. Rental yield is about 3.2%. This is not very high. In fact, if you go a bit higher floor, better facing, for example, rental yield starts to drop. That is actually in line with what we understand about District 21. District 21 is known to have a lot of supply of condos. So rental yield in this area is actually not that great. It's more of a own stay kind of area. So be mindful if you are buying just for investment to rent out. I do think that there are other locations that are better. In fact, if you are looking to buy for investment to rent out, then honestly, I've learned this from other instances. During a crisis, what kind of developments, what kind of attributes of a development do you think is more important to find a tenant? Those developments that are very near MRT or on top of MRT, right, will always be more resilient during crisis. Why is that? Because when there's a crisis and tenants suddenly have a lot of options in terms of houses where rental prices drop across the board, where do you think they will move? Where do you think they will find most attractive? Definitely are the condos that are very near MRT or on top of MRT, maybe integrated developments, because they usually don't drive, they don't see the need to, they just want to be super close to MRT station or super close to work. So during a crisis, while across the board rental prices drop, those that are very near MRT are very resilient in terms of vacancy period. They almost don't have vacancy period. And that's very important for you to understand if you are buying to rent out. The Sen, in this case, we are not near MRT, which means if a crisis do hit and the tenants now are going to pay a cheaper rent, they may find that, like that makes more sense. I go stay maybe next time Reserve Residence because that's integrated, very near MRT. If the rental is only like $100 difference, why not I go Reserve, for example, during a crisis? And that will be very disadvantageous for you because you will have a very long vacancy period in times of crisis. So this is something that I need you to understand. These are some risks for buying a small bedroom type that is not near MRT, especially if you are buying to rent out. I also wanted to understand what is the competition of the 2 bedrooms for sale. There are about 21 units for sale in the Verdale. Then that represents about 18.6%. That is actually better than the 1 bedroom we saw just now. But 18.6%, in my opinion, is still a bit high. Preferably, I think the listings to supply ratio should be within 10% or even smaller. That represents scarcity, that represents good demand, represents that resale buyers are actually very interested in this development or this area. Having a 5 to 10% kind of listings to supply ratio, I think in terms of the resale performance, it will definitely be better. 18.6%, in my opinion, is a bit high, so I don't think it's very good. If you are looking at, 4 years later, I want to sell off to have a good profit, this might not be an area for that, in my opinion, just based on Verdale's performance. And Verdale, I think the pricing is quite realistic. I think they bought about 2008, 2009, then they are selling about 2000, 2001 per square foot. So it's cheaper than the Sen. So it's not saying that the Sen you are able to buy brand new at resale price. No. Verdale is still cheaper. So I do think that if Verdale is struggling a bit in this case, the Sen in future may take more time to sell. There's also one listing up for rent in Verdale, so that means that it's not too bad but perhaps because the rental renewal cycle is not during this period, therefore there's not many listings up in the market. But still, it's not bad, just that if you are really buying to rent out, my concern is rental yield, my concern is during crisis, how? So I would not recommend if you are buying a 2-bed to rent out in this area. 2-bed plus study, 764 square feet, 775 square feet. The study in this development is really substantial. It's really good because both of them are 6 square meters. good size. Bathroom, Jack and Jill between the study and the bedroom, I think is good lah. Kitchen wise, although it's kitchenette, that is to me, not that great. So I don't think if you are someone buying for own stay, you would like that as much because you don't have an enclosed kitchen. That's something I want to highlight. Maybe you are just a small family or a couple who wants a bit more space. The study will present a very, very good space for you to put your stuff. Have a study. I think the 6 square meters, honestly, if you want to fit a small bed, like a sofa bed for guests to come over, probably possible also because 6 square meters is decent size. The smallest common bedroom I've seen in the newer launches probably will be 7 square meters. This is the pre-harmonized project. 7 square meters, I think, is the smallest. So 6, we are about there. So I do think that if you want to squeeze in like a small sofa bed for guests to crash over the night, it's probably possible. But the 2+ study, not my favorite layout. Unless you really need a study, then you can consider. If not, maybe you can consider the 3-bedroom. So right now, 3-bedroom. Okay, the first layout, C1, 872 square feet. Kitchen, once again, is a kitchenette, so I'm not so keen about it. But they give you bomb shelter. That's very interesting. Usually compact 3-bedroom, we don't have the bomb shelter for the very first one, but they do give you. So if you're someone looking for a lot of storage, maybe this is not bad. But the key thing about this kind of layout is that your bedrooms are flanked around your living dining. It makes your living dining a bit more cramped. While the dining can fit 6-seater over here, I don't think you can fill the space quite well, to be very frank. And I don't quite like the bedroom 3 being here because this means that you are facing the east or west facing. And the window is super small, guys, only here, which means this bedroom 3 will be super dark and also facing east or west sun coming in. That's why I don't really like this. Unless you are someone looking from the 2+ study to the 3-bed, if the pricing makes sense to you, maybe this is better because you are getting much more in return. You're getting a bomb shelter, converting the study into bedroom 3, good size, bigger dining area. This might be a better option if the pricing is close. But 872 compared to, let's say, 775, it's about $200,000. So $200,000 is still not super cheap. I do think that, I don't think the pricing will be super cheap, super close to each other. There will still be a decent gap between the 3 compact with the 2+ study. So just be mindful about that. C1, unfortunately, won't be my top choice because of the layout like that. Unless you want to rent out each bedroom separately, possibly you can. But once again, I already mentioned that in District 21, rental yield is not the best. So may not be the wisest decision to do over here. C2, 936 square feet. I quite like it. This is the first layout that kitchen, yes, I got an enclosed kitchen. I get a utility room, which is good because I can store stuff. The 6-seater is flushed in, means that the width here is good size. Living area pretty good. And all 3 bedrooms are flanked. One side means facing one direction. So for example, if I want the park facing, which I think this is the premium facing of this development, I can. This 936 square feet, I can get it. So this will be definitely a much better choice than the C1. Then next, I have the 3-bedroom C3, 1109 square feet. This is my favorite layout of maybe the entire development. Let me share with you why. Because this is the first layout, 3-bedroom, that we are getting a landscape layout over here. Landscape meaning you're living dining back to back, side by side. In this case, balcony is also very nice. You'll get a dry kitchen, you get a home shelter, wet kitchen, everything. WC comes with window as well. Very, very solid. I have no complaints about this layout, honestly. One strategy that you can consider is if you can convert the dining to your dry kitchen area over here, then your living becomes super big over here. Wow. That's also very, very attractive to me. Landscape layout is always very attractive because why? When you step in over here, can you imagine the amount of light coming in? So if you get, unfortunately, this is all pool facing, which is good. I mean, pool facing units are always very safe. You have a very nice facing of the pool. I think it's good. And The only complaint, if I must have, is maybe this walkway is a bit long. Other than that, I think there's no complaint. And one key thing is there is no landscape layout in Verdale. To me, that is very important because, yes, I may be buying for own stay, but one day I may want to sell. And when a resale buyer comes to view your unit, likely they will compare with Verdale. And if Verdale, all the 3 bedrooms do not come with landscape and yours come with landscape, 1109 square feet is a very good size. And this area, the people, they probably want big size because it's District 21. They have some money. And not near MRT means usually they drive, they have a bigger family. They probably need space. So I do think that this layout will be very good. And in the stand of time, you probably can have a much better resale performance than even the C2 unit. So in fact, all the layouts, C3 is my favorite layout of the entire development. Then we have the 3+ study. So the 3+ study, this is a prestige collection already. So now we are in a point blocks. As you can see, the block 224, 226. These are point blocks where one level, only 4 units. They are all corner units. And this 3-bedroom is also landscape layout. And you have wet kitchen, dry kitchen, you have everything. But key thing is you have a study over here, and the bedroom 2 and bedroom 3, they have Jack and Jill bathroom. So it's good, but I do think that the pricing is a bit high. 1259 square feet, 2.9 million starting from, because they gave, about that, $2.9 million. I think it's a bit high into this market. So therefore, I would prefer the 1109 square feet over here. For me, the 1259, unless you are buying for own stay, you really need this. Because in my honest opinion, I don't think you are getting too much in return. Yes, the Jack and Jill bath is very attractive. Powder room is nice. But the price difference will be quite substantial because now you're paying for the more prestige collection series. It's going to be more expensive. And you're paying for the space, the study. That's my consideration. Then let's go through the last bedroom type, which is the 4-bedroom. 4-bedroom, very nice. No wastage of space in the entrance area. Immediately dry kitchen, wet kitchen. So similar template to the 3+ study. You have Jack and Jill bathroom here, serving both bedrooms. And you have a junior master over here. Study, which is similar to the 3+ study, powder room. And the master, you have your his and her sink. That's really very sweet. I have no complaints. Maybe only this part, I feel that the wardrobe is a bit at an odd placement because it's not super big, but it does take out a little bit of space in your master bedroom. So on the floor plan, it looks like our master bedroom very big, but because your wardrobe is situated like that, the master bedroom may feel a bit more cramped. But I do like that there's a his and her sinks. I do like that, the Jack and Jill bathroom. Every bedroom is ensuite. In this case, powder room, everything. And it's very nice, 1453 square feet. But the starting from price is from 3.35 million. So I don't know. I don't think this is a very attractive price to come in. 1453 square feet means that if it's pre-harmonized, it's about 1,550 square feet. Good size. In fact, in today's market, it's very hard to find a 4-bedroom that is this big, that's new. So if you are looking to just buy this and in 4 years you want to make a good profit, I don't think it will be that easy because another key consideration is Verdale's 4-bedroom layout is super good. It's like the UOL series of the 4-bedroom premiums where your kitchen can open up and then link up with your living area. So the kitchen can open like that one because their doors are here. So I would prefer that 4-bedroom layouts. So I do think that in resale times, your 4-bedroom will have a bit more competition from Verdale side because that layout is just a bit better and they bought cheaper. So that's my concern for the 4-bedrooms. Then we have the other 4-bedroom layouts. This is facing the park facing. So if you want the park facing, then these are the 2 stacks that you have. Key difference is the facing will be the key difference for this. Other than that, I don't see much of a difference. So 4-bedroom, nice, big. If you want to buy, please, because you want to buy for this location, buy for own stay. If you expect 4 years, you want to make very good money and exit, I don't think this will be it. You probably need a bit more holding power before you can exit because of the purchase price and also the competition from Verdale. Another thing I realized from Verdale is that the 4-bedroom don't have any resale transactions yet. So that is also good because that means that the people like staying there. And yeah lor. And in terms of number of listings, there's only 1 or 2 listings on Property Guru I went to see, which also represents that the listings to supply ratio is also very healthy. So that is another good sign. It's just that when you want to sell, if there's a bit more units for sale in Verdale, then yeah, you might have a bit more competition because I do think that those units have very, very solid floor plans as well. If not, I've come to the end of today's project analysis. In fact, I'm shooting on this date. Today is the first day of the Sen preview. If you want to go and take a look, please feel free to reach out to me. I will analyze a bit more with you which units to go for, which units I have a bit more concern. Are there any other things that we should look out for the Sen? But like I said, I do have numerous concerns. I don't know about you. Do you have similar concerns, or what other concerns do you have about the Sen? Do you think this is a development you should go for? Or do you think the developer just priced it very, very high because they know that never mind lah, next year all the launches are going to be very expensive ma? So why not I try to sell higher? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one.